I'm going to comment on the new Star Trek Picard trailer that was recently released. For those of you who haven't seen it, check it out, link below in the description box. First off, the trailer is receiving mostly positive feedback, with fans generally very pleased with what they're seeing here. And I'll start by saying that I'm cautiously optimistic at this point. I believe this is going to be a much better series than Discovery. Not that that would be all that difficult, of course. However, I'm going to sound a few words of warning because I don't believe people should be getting too carried away here. So the trailer begins with shots of Picard's vineyard in France. Now, Picard has retired there possibly since the events of Star Trek Countdown. For those people who aren't familiar with that comic book, Star Trek Countdown is a prequel that explains what happened prior to Nero and Spock being sent back in time during the events of the 2009 Star Trek film, which led to the creation of the Kelvin timeline. In the comic book, we saw Admiral Picard and also the Enterprise E under the command of Captain Data. B4 received the memory engrams of Data just before the end of Star Trek Nemesis. After Data's death in that film, Data's personality and memories began to slowly take hold of B4's neural net, effectively resurrecting Data. So that's the reason that Data is back and he appears at the end of this trailer. I'll first focus on the 4 things that I liked about this trailer. I'm pleased to see that the show is paying close attention and respect to established canon. Little things like Picard's old comm badge from the late 24th century era. That was a nice thing to see. Like most people, I was very surprised to see Jeri Ryan returning as 7 of 9. Although given her behavior and some minor changes to her appearance, she seems to have regained much more of her humanity. It's even possible that she no longer refers to herself as 7 of 9, and has instead adopted her original name, Annika Hansen. We'll see what happens there. We also see a Borg cube that appears to be either damaged or partially disassembled, with what looks like force fields surrounding it. We also see this facility. Could be a prison of some kind, could be the inside of the Borg cube, very hard to know. Could be some sort of research outpost, and it's guarded by what could be Romulans. Although it's kind of hard to tell because Romulans and Vulcans look very similar, and it looks like there's only going to be a very subtle difference in the makeup between the Romulans and the Vulcans. You can see what looks like Borg regeneration chambers in the background. There's a sign that reads, "This facility has gone 5,843 days without an assimilation." There's also a Borg corpse of some kind, with much of his cybernetic implants removed. The 4th and final thing that I liked in this trailer was the surprise appearance of Data. Now, he looks quite odd in this close-up shot. Whatever de-aging effects that they used, possibly a combination of makeup and CGI, he doesn't look quite right. It's as if somebody went in and airbrushed out the wrinkles frame by frame. The shape of his face looks a little strange, and his eyes appear to be too small. Something about him just seems a little off. It's not terrible or anything, it's just odd. Anyway, the reason I first focused on the things that I liked in the trailer is because I think it's important to not get carried away by those things. It's great that Jeri Ryan is making an appearance, as it demonstrates that this series is incorporating the wider Star Trek mythos into the story and not just TNG elements. Hopefully we'll see more Voyager and also DS9 characters on the show. Now that we're finally back to the 24th century after a 17-year hiatus, I want to know what's been going on with the Alpha Quadrant. And I want to know the status of the other Trek alumni from the other series. What's been happening with the other characters? Jeri Ryan's involvement is very encouraging. However, with all of these positives and surprises put aside for one moment, the rest of the trailer looks about what I expected. I think Patrick Stewart looks to be on form once again as Captain Picard, but this is going to be an ensemble show, and it's going to live and die by the strength of its ensemble. This trailer hasn't told me anything about this particular cast of characters. The trailer also doesn't tell me an awful lot about the tone and tenor of the series. Picard is approached by some young woman who's very, very special, and apparently she doesn't truly know what she is. Uh-oh, the cynic in me is thinking, here's yet another feminist female empowerment story. Oh, and look, she's an ass-kicking tough chick. This looks a little bit predictable. Now, let's hope this isn't another Michael Burnham-level Mary Sue character. We'll wait and see. I will give it the benefit of the doubt. I am getting a little bit of a Logan vibe here. Not that that's a bad thing, but it looks like the elderly retired hero has to come out of retirement for one last adventure to help protect the young female heroine because she's very, very important, or she's got some destiny that has to be fulfilled, etc. And it's kind of been done before, so hopefully they've got more for us than just that. With the exception of Saru and Captain Pike in the second season, Discovery doesn't have very many likable characters on the ship. There's a lot of antagonism between some of the characters, constant conflict and snarkiness, making the whole affair too dark, broody, dreary, and melancholic. This is also true of many other sci-fi shows these days. I have to wonder what kind of cast this Picard series is going to have. I'm only asking that question because some of the same creative team behind Discovery are also working on this show. I want to see a Star Trek show, and hopefully they are a strong cast. Hopefully they're a likable group of people. But this trailer doesn't tell me that. And this looks like a non-Federation series, which I'm not entirely sold on. A ragtag bunch of misfits in the vein of something like Star Trek Renegades or Firefly. Now, I enjoyed Renegades, but it's a non-canon fan film that was trying to be modern and edgy. And I love Firefly, but it's not Star Trek. And trying to change Star Trek into something else is not going to work. Now, the character of Hugh is also making a comeback. He was a Borg who became detached from the collective in the TNG episode I, Borg, and he returned in the two-parter Descent. So that's going to be very interesting to see him come back. Also, Marina Sirtis and Jonathan Frakes are returning as Troy and Riker, and I hope that these characters remain true to who they were on the show. I hope we don't get another Princess Leia Han Solo situation from the new trilogies where they're now estranged, where they got divorced or something. Because, as you know, so often with these new rebooted franchises, everyone grows dark over time, and all relationships and marriages fail. Right? That's the issue I have with these old franchises coming back these days. The people writing them didn't create them. And look, it's easier to destroy than it is to build. I'm concerned about our beloved characters being damaged by careless writing or modern, politically correct biases. So hopefully, Troy and Riker are still Troy and Riker. I've also got some other questions. Like, for example, if they bring Worf back, is Michael Dorn going to have to wear the new Klingon makeup that was introduced under the alternate license agreement? Also, is this going to be a thought-provoking and intelligent sci-fi show, or more of a fantasy action-adventure series set in space like Discovery? I love seeing the return of legendary Trek characters, but Star Trek needs to be Star Trek. It has to be true to its core philosophy. Star Trek has got to be hopeful and optimistic about the future. That was Gene Roddenberry's vision. And a Star Trek show cannot be populated by unlikable characters who can't get on with each other. I'm hoping we've got a fun series here, populated by well-written and compelling characters, some occasional good humor, and clever sci-fi stories. But you have to forgive me for being cynical, given the appalling writing of so many rebooted franchises these days, especially Star Trek Discovery. You can't blame me for not getting carried away by a trailer. But as I said at the beginning of this video, I remain cautiously optimistic. This trailer is encouraging. I enjoyed the surprises that they showed us. I've still got plenty of questions, but hopefully those questions can be answered next year when the show airs. Those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.